Build up to Black Friday with savings all month long at Lowe's. Get up to 50% off select major appliances, plus take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And don't wait to pick up holiday inflatables under $20. Don't wait to save, in-store or online now, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid 11/6 through 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for details and qualifying items while supplies last.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Memorial Day drop of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And I'm your host, Woody Overton. Memorial Day, y'all. That's one of the days that I normally don't work, but so I'm going to record this just a little bit ahead of time, only because I just happened to look up Memorial Day crimes and murders and shit like that, and holy smokes, one of my favorite places, or what was one of my favorite places on earth, I found a story that I didn't know about. So, but I'm going to tie it, then I found two more, and I'm sure I could have found a million more, but I'm going to tie it all together when I was there for, I left the day of the third part of the story that I'm going to tell you, okay? And look, Memorial Day, y'all, it's not Veterans Day. I'm a veteran. My daddy's a veteran. Shane McBride's a veteran. You know, all the veterans that you know, that's wonderful. But Veterans Day is to recognize everybody that served. Memorial Day is to pay honor to the people who died while serving their country in war, etc. And they died, you know, so we could continue our freedom, right? Like if we had won World War II, we'd be speaking German or Japanese, one of the two. So you keep that in mind. I want everybody to have a wonderful time. I know a shit ton of y'all are at the beach and fighting the traffic, trying to catch some rays, drinking a cool pop and all that. It's great. Love it, love it, love it. Enjoy it. But remember what it's about, y'all. It's about those who died. So I can have a right to sit here and do a podcast and speak freely. And you can enjoy your family and whatever it is that you're enjoying on Memorial Day. Very, very important to me. And I'll tell you, my weekend will be hanging out, grilling, a little swimming, sure, a little beer drinking, but not going out of town or anything. You know, I don't know what y'all's traditions are, but it's a great holiday, the beginning of the summer, and just very, very important. So let's get started. What am I going to name this? About Memorial Day murders, okay? And I did not know the story. Now, Chicago is one of my favorite cities that there is. Just beautiful. I've taken my wife and WL, my son. The last time we were there was in 2023. That weekend of Memorial Day, we left the city to go to Wisconsin. But it's beautiful. Never been to Chicago. I used to go all the time. It's beautiful. Lots of parks. When you fly in over Chicago, it's green. And you got all these massive buildings. And it's all this different type of architecture. Almost like every building is different. And of course, I'm a history buff, right? And it's got the Prohibition history. Al Capone. Of course, Al Capone said there are no gangsters in Chicago, right? Well, we know wasn't true. But the people are cool. Every city I go to, I get a different vibe from. I always loved going to Chicago because the people were cool. You got all the comedy clubs. You got the Miracle Mile. You got Chicago pizza, right? Chicago dogs. I even got to go to, and I'm not even a baseball fan, but I got to go to Chicago Cubs game at Wrigley Field. And I just love going. Oh, my grandmother, my dad's mom, during World War II, she actually worked at the Hilton Palmer House Hotel. And that's where I stay when I go. Very historic building, just freaking great place, right? So much history, awesome place. Well, let me tell you what happened in 1937 on Memorial Day. Now, 1937, it's, just a few years, 5 years before we get involved in World War II. But the country was different at the time. We did 99% of our own manufacturing, from steel to coal mines to whatever, built our own automobiles and everything else. It's just different time. And those people who worked in the factories wanted a better life, and so they started forming the first unions. In Chicago in 1937, the CIO was being organized, and the steel workers and the packing, they were all being organized. Oh, that's other things, Chicago, great steaks, right? And some of the best steak houses in the world. But the steel workers, y'all, that was big business. And these companies that were producing the steel, whether it's the beams to continue to build the skyline of Chicago or they're shipping it wherever, it was a real deal. Now, they were striking and they did different stuff when they were forming these unions. And guess what? And almost all of the big manufacturers got on board, accepted the union, made it safer places to work, and paid the higher wages, et cetera. Well, the one company didn't, okay? And that was the Republic Steel, y'all, in South Chicago. And their owner, Tom Girdler, said, I will not recognize the union, right? Well, when you're forming a union, and I'm sure you've seen it like Jimmy Hoffa in the past and stuff like that, but if the company doesn't want, the union in, and they don't want to make it safer and pay higher wages, well, they didn't do it. But the workers didn't take it laying down. They would strike. And that meaning they stand in front of the plant and picket and stuff like that, and try to stop the scabs from coming in and taking their jobs and stuff like that. But on Memorial Day in 1937 at Republic Steel, there was a strike, okay? But it wasn't like you see nowadays where they're burning shit down and flipping cars and doing all that stuff. It was a peaceful strike. And, There was even a picnic, y'all. So the strikers and their wives and their kids all went to Republic Steel and shot South Chicago on the grounds. And they, they're having a picnic, but they're striking, no doubt about that. And the Republic Steel didn't like it. So at some point during this, I'm not saying that the strikers were totally innocent in this, but they didn't get what they got, deserve what they got. But at some point, one of the strikers, threw a stone at the cops. Okay, but the cops were there because of Girdler, and guess what happened? That one thrown stone resulted in a massacre. All right, and those cops that were there to keep the peace ended up just unloading on people, and ultimately they killed 10 of them. And the autopsy showed, now a lot more got shot, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, but the autopsy showed that most were shot in the back or the side. So that happened, right? And in the days that followed, the newspapers were they didn't have radio, but newspaper was the most readily a form, like what we have for social media now. And the newspapers across the country said that the incident, it was a riot, and it was provoked by a dangerous mob, which left the cops no chance or no choice but to open fire on them, right? And again, 10 people died within days. But guess what? There was a key piece of evidence, and they even had cameras back then, movie cameras. I'm sure it was silent or whatever. But when it broke out, Paramount News. Now, we think about Paramount, the movie company, and all that. Now, it was Paramount News. They had actually had the only film of the tragedy, but it got buried, right? So that's a key piece of evidence. And again, Paramount News suppressed it and didn't let it out. Now, everything done in darkness comes to light. The film finally comes to light. And when people saw it, they were like, holy shit. And it was screened. And once it got out, the shocking images of these people being murdered drew national attention. And just crazy. The one witness, a lady named Molly West, said, "We just walked, and people were talking and holding hands, and their children were being carried by their fathers on their shoulders, and everybody was laughing, and it was a joyous thing. And as we came closer to the mill, the walking slowed a bit. It seemed like the entire police force of the city of Chicago was out there. But that didn't deter. We were still going to go over to the mill and just conduct a peaceful mass picket line." Now, another witness, Harold Rossman, says, "I could see a few objects through the air." I guess he's talking about throwing, y'all. "I could see some things being thrown. Not much. It wasn't a lot of stuff, maybe a couple of rocks. And then there was a dry, crackling kind of noise. And it took me a minute to figure out what it was. And I realized it was gunfire. And by that time, the people were falling. And they were turning and trying to run. And the gunfire continued. It was clear that a whole number of these people had been shot in the back. And they were trying to flee and were still being fired at. All right? Well, Molly West, who I already read, said, continuing, she says, "And then a whole number of people were piled up on top of me, and I could barely breathe. Also, there was tear gas. People finally began to get off and get on their feet. And when I finally stood up and total bewilderment, I looked around and I saw a battlefield, right? Lots of dead bodies. 1937, that wasn't the shit you saw back then. This is Chicago, man. This is Chi-Town, right? The police shot 40 people. And again, the vast majority were in the back or the side, and 10 died within days, like I told you. Well, when the film came out, it showed that they waded through the crowd, beating people over the head, sometimes with axe handles provided by Republic Steel. And so there was another 50 people who were injured enough to be hospitalized. And the film shows the injured, instead of getting any medical treatment, were actually arrested and shoved into paddy wagons and taken to jail, right? Or taken to distant hospitals. So, and y'all, all this is on the Paramount News footage, which had been suppressed. And it's actually this ended up going to Congress because it was all fucked up, right? I mean, there was an investigation, and this was the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first film footage that was ever used to testify in Congress about something that happened, right? So crazy. This one guy named Hanley was a 37-year-old carpenter, and he had been shot in the thigh. So another worker tied a tourniquet on his leg to stop the bleeding. But the Paramount footage showed him, after the tourniquet was put on, showed him being hauled to a worker's car for a quick trip to the hospital. But after the camera stopped rolling, police yanked him out of the car and carried him to their paddy wagon. As the tourniquet slipped off, he bled to death. So, I don't know. And they said a doctor who treated some of the wounded presented autopsy reports proving that nearly all of the dead had been shot in the back or in the side. Isn't that crazy, y'all? I mean, movies were the shit back then. I think that's probably like one of the first things that actually led to what we have nowadays, body cameras and, stuff like that. I mean, which are a good thing, right? Helps keep an honest man honest. And I don't know, but the 1937 Memorial Day in Chicago, shit got out of hand. Big business tried to control the way, and that's what happened. All right. Again, I still love Chicago. I mean, shit, it's just a great, great place. Well, let me take you to a lot of years fast forwarded. We're going back to Memorial Day weekend. And this time, the year is 2022. So just 2 years ago. All right. This is reported everywhere, y'all, but I'm going to touch on some of what David Mack said from BuzzFeed. So this is not just in 2022. I'm going to give you more of an overview. Let me tell you something. Fucking Memorial Day was the worst day to work as a cop besides 4th of July weekends if the 4th of July fell on a Monday. Memorial Day was always bad because it's that long weekend. Most people take off Fridays. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, right? And you start partying at the beginning of the weekend, and by the time you get to the end of the weekend, it's a shit show, right? People with hangovers, or they spent their money, or they're tired of being with their family members, or whatever. Hey, y'all, changing my wardrobe from summer to fall, it's never easy. Luckily, Quince offers timeless and high-quality items I adore. Ensure my wardrobe stays fresh and I don't blow my budget. And there's nothing easier than going to Quince and choosing these high-quality items, like cashmere sweaters from $50, pants for every occasion, washable silk tops, and so much more. The best part? All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, and I love that. I got the stainless steel Link Apple Watch band for $59.90. It's heavy duty, it's awesome, and it's like $100 less than I could find anywhere else. And I also got a 100% organic cotton fisherman quarter zip up sweater. The color is alabaster. Man, I can't wait to wear that this fall. And Cindy got the Mongolian cashmere boat neck sweater in heather gray. And I'm telling you, these are classic pieces at a fraction of the price. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/RLRC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/RLRC to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/RLRC. You'll thank me later. Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. So we're going to go to 2022 Memorial Day, and this is for the United States of America. Then I'm going to come back to Chi-Town, okay? So a Memorial Day, just stick with me, a Memorial Day festival in Oklahoma, a house party in Philadelphia, a graduation celebration in Alabama. As Americans came together for the holiday weekend, the drumbeat of gun violence continued to shatter peace across the country. Now, while the shocking and deadly mass shootings in Uvalde, Texas, and Buffalo, New York were topics of conversation for many people at the beach and backyard gatherings over the long weekend, hundreds of smaller shootings nationwide ended lives, injured bodies, and left families reeling. Now check this out. Remember, the longest fucking weekend, right? In just 72 hours, the span over Memorial Day weekend, there were more than 300 shooting incidents, this is 2022, across the U.S., and this is according to the Gun Violence Archive. More than 130 people were killed, including a 16-year-old girl and a 21-year-old woman who were shot dead around 1 a.m. on Monday at a holiday party in Philadelphia's Port Richmond neighborhood. Now, many of the other shootings injured just one person, but some, like the gunfire that erupted on the interstate southeast of Las Vegas on Sunday afternoon, wounded as many as 7. Now, Mass shootings are the tip of the iceberg in this country's gun violence crisis. Melanie McFadden, a volunteer with Moms Demand Action and a volunteer and member of every town's Veteran Advisory Council, had told BuzzFeed News. So she said, it's important to recognize that people are dying every single day from gun violence that doesn't make national headlines. And y'all, it's going to happen this weekend. Motherfuckers are going to be getting shot and killed, and you may hear about it, you may not. But chances are you won't hear about the ones in the small towns. But anyway, the murder of 19 children and 2 adults in their Texas classrooms last week caused widespread horror and opened the door for the first time in years to the prospect, however slim, of federal actions on guns. But it also put the country on edge. And in Florida, a 10-year-old boy in 5th grade was arrested and charged and marched before a camera for allegedly sending a text about a planned shooting in his school in Cape Coral. That's according to Sheriff Carbine Marcino. It said the boy's behavior was sickening in light of the Uvalde tragedy, which we all, God rest all those people's souls. You know, I don't know. It just goes on. But they said these high-profile moments should clarify us, and they should energize us to take action. And well, I agree with that. But you know, we're going back to it. It's still Memorial Day. But they say not only, you know, because Memorial Day weekend has so many murders, they said we should be paying attention to the actions of the killers 365 days a year. Otherwise, it'll continue, right? The everyday gun violence includes deadly incidents of domestic violence, like killing a mother and her 3 children, which had happened in Michigan by the children were under the age of 10, and the husband came in and killed the mom and the kids, right? 2022. But anyway, I don't know, y'all. It just goes on and on. But back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm sorry, but the street violence, like that scene in a small Oklahoma town of Taft, which is southeast of Tulsa, on Friday night, beginning Memorial Day weekend, where roughly 1,500 people attended and had gathered at an outdoor festival to enjoy meals from the food trucks and celebrate the start of Memorial Day weekend. But shortly after midnight, shots rang out after 2 assholes got into an argument. And of course, I told you, nothing clears the room like a little gunfire, and it sent all the panicked crowds scrambling for safety. One person says, bullets were literally flying everywhere. And that's what Jasmine Hill, she told the Tulsa World newspaper. She described how she dove to the floor of her food truck for cover, and at least one bullet hit the vehicle, narrowly missing a propane tank. It was like something right out of a movie. And when the gunfire finally stopped, a 39-year-old woman was dead. 7 others, ranging in age from 56 to just 9 years old, had been injured. And again, y'all, Memorial Day weekend. Now, on Sunday, a 26-year-old man was taken into custody after turning himself in because the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations got his ass, right? Well, I told you nationwide. Go 2 states over in Tennessee, and 6 teenagers were injured in a Saturday night shooting in downtown Chattanooga, where I used to live, y'all. 2 of those wounded were in very, very critical condition. That's according to the police chief. And, you know, just goes on and on and on. I don't know. Anyway, there's so many more. Let's go to Anniston, Alabama. This is where I was in basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama, which is now closed. And 6 young people were struck by gunfire at a Friday night graduation party in Anniston, Alabama, and over 150 people were attending that event. So it just goes on and on and on about all these murders on Memorial Day, right? So I'm going to take you back to Chicago, and this is even more relevant. Now, remember that what I just read you was 2022. Now, I'm going to take you to the last time I was in Chi-Town, and I was there with Cindy, and I was there with WL. They had not been. I used to go almost every year, and we were going up to Wisconsin, and I said, you know what, let's take 4 nights and go to Chicago, and well, it's kind of during the middle of the week, y'all. I said, you know, I want to show you these places. My son needs to see the architect, and they can do the crime tours and all that stuff. Well, thank God we left Friday morning, all right? And because that was the beginning of Memorial Day weekend. And they said that Memorial Day weekend 2023 was nothing short of a war zone in Chicago, Illinois. A staggering 12 people were murdered and 53 people were shot total in the violent, bloody city. Look, I heard about it. We left, right? And it was made national news. And I'm like, holy fuck. Now, I mean, Chicago used to have it where at least they protected the Miracle Mile and the Bean and stuff like that. And now they're coming into the places where the tourists are, all right? And they did it this weekend when we left. But that weekend, the people were shot from the ages of 2 to 77 years old. I mean, indiscriminate, didn't matter. But I'm gonna list you some of the homicides and shooting. On Sunday night, May the 28th, 2023, a 2-year-old boy was shot while playing in a bedroom with an adult. The boy was hit in the right hand. Bad enough, right? But earlier that same day, a 2-year-old girl was shot at another residence. Y'all, that's just people riding around spraying bullets, not knowing who they're going to hit. Then there was a Michigan police officer who was in town, and guess what? He was staying in a Chicago hotel, and he shot himself. And another man, right? We don't know why. There was a 69-year-old woman who was shot while sitting in a vehicle, and she died, y'all, from her injuries. Then 4 people were shot in a quadruple drive-by shooting. They were all taken to a hospital and treated. I don't know if they lived or died. I'm just telling you what happened on that day or that weekend. Now, there was a 17-year-old who was shot when he opened his front door after his doorbell rang. Doorbell rings, you open it, no big deal, and they shot him in the upper left thigh, right? Crazy. Not far from there, in a nearby alley, a female was stabbed to death. All right, I'm not making this shit up. Okay, let's go to shortly before 1 a.m. on May the 27th. Another man was found dead with a gunshot wound. Yeah, we're talking about in Chicago. We had just left. About 2:15 a.m., a male victim identified as William Hare, 35 years old, was found on a sidewalk with a gunshot wound to the chest near downtown Chicago, and he died at the hospital. You think it ends there, but it doesn't. A 37-year-old woman and a 35-year-old man were shot while standing on a sidewalk. Both of them were shot in the face. The man died and the woman was listed in critical condition. Walking down the sidewalk, somebody runs up, shoots you both in the face. 20 minutes after that man and lady were shot in the face, Jonathan Segaldo, 22 years old, was shot in the chest and died. Now, can you imagine being the cop and these shootings are coming in one after another, after another, after another. 53 motherfuckers got shot and numerous died, right? How many homicide detectives does Chicago have? I don't know, but I bet they called in sick this year. But anyway, continuing. After Sagado was shot and killed, later in the day, another man was shot to death on the same street. I wish they had listed it. Well, you know what? I'm probably not going back to Chicago anytime soon anyway. But here we go. Less than an hour later after that, a woman was killed in another quadruple drive-by shooting, and the three men in the vehicle, or the three men who were with her, were also wounded in the shooting. Right? This minutes apart, y'all. Can you imagine the war zone that city was? Then a 26-year-old man was pronounced dead after being shot in the back. Doesn't stop. Rolling. 3 men were shot outside of a nightclub, but fortunately they all lived. And on Memorial Day 2023, a 16-year-old boy was wounded in a drive-by shooting. Now, someone drove up in an SUV, and somebody inside the SUV began shooting. The boy was shot, the 16-year-old, shot twice in the thigh, and he was taken to the hospital, right? Thank God these assholes that are riding around shooting everybody up aren't trained professionals. But it's not over. Another man was shot in the city, not long after the shot, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Going on? Tired of it yet? This is Chicago. Just after 12:30 a.m. on Sunday, a 20-year-old man was walking on the sidewalk when 2 men walked up to him, pulled out pistols, and opened fire. And they struck him multiple times in the head and the legs. And, of course, he was pronounced dead on the scene. Y'all, that is what happened last year, Memorial Day weekend, Chi-Town, Chicago. I love Chicago. I love the Windy City. It's beautiful. You got the lakes and the food and the culture and all that. But you know what? Fuck that. I'm not going back. And I'm going to do an update because you bet from my point of view, if you're the cops, and this every year it's getting worse. I read you 2022. There was, not as many as there was last year. Look, I could have read it for you each year. There's multiple shootings. I'm not picking on Chicago. I'm just telling you, this is fucking war zone shit, right? I mean, what do you do? If I lived in Chicago, I'd be booking some Travelocity the fuck out of the city for that weekend. This weekend, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they police them down. I don't know how you do that. You put the city in martial law, ride around in fucking tanks. I mean, they're shooting indiscriminately in the houses. They're shooting couples that are walking down the street. They're shooting kids. They're shooting old people. They're shooting, stabbing motherfuckers to death. Whatever. Look, 53 people. That's a fucking lot. Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something. And all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes, plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. In one of the most beautiful cities in our country that I'm not going back to until I'm damn sure not bringing my family back. The state of the world we live in today, I hope they stay safe this Memorial Day weekend. And y'all, I'm going to end it with that, but I'm going to see. I'm going to test it myself because I believe that the cops have worked these last several years, and there's good ones, I know, but it's a holiday weekend, beginning of the summer. I don't know, those cops are going to respond. I mean, nowadays with the hate culture towards the cops, and I'm not saying there's not bad ones because there are, and the body cameras and shit like that, I mean, like, probably they're like, let them shoot themselves and we'll work the dead bodies afterwards because we don't want to get in trouble for doing our job. Crazy. I'll give you an update. All right, real life, real crime, daily show. Obviously, we're continuing it now. And it's going to be coming fresh episodes all the time. Jim Chapman and I. Friday, we are going to be making an announcement on a special first time ever drop. And I'm not even going to tell you who my co-host is going to be, but most of y'all can probably figure it out. We love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. Oh, guess what? June 1, y'all keep hearing me talk about Harris and my boy Brian Ott. Go down there, Lifers. You downtown this weekend, go drink a beer. It's really cold and really reasonably priced. It's a great place. O'Harris Irish Pub, 136 3rd Street, downtown Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But on June 1, we're going to be there again, and it's finally going to be the grand opening. And that's been open for about 2 weeks since they did the soft opening on a Friday night. This would be the second week. Yeah, so 2 weeks. So 3 weeks, I wanted to have everything, fine-tuned before the grand opening, and I'll give you some details later in the week of who's going to be playing bands and stuff like that. And so, welcome home, people. That's the tagline for them. Love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. I wasn't going to drop anything because I don't usually on Memorial Day, but stay safe, people. Holy shit. If you think you hear gunfire, it is gunfire. I'm sure there's going to be some fireworks. Run, hide, stay safe, do all those things. I told you about situational awareness and all that shit I think I did that on the Daily Show. But just stay safe, take care of one another. And look, if you are driving to the beach or you drove to the beach already, I did that shit years ago. And it took like 10 hours to make a 4-hour trip. And I was like, fuck you. I'm not ever going to be stuck in this traffic again. But you know what? I get it. People are doing the beach shit and all that. It's all love. And just hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful time. But be safe, please. I don't want to get any messages about lifers getting hurt. And I guess that's it. The LOPA, the Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency, nonprofit. We love them. They facilitate people. All these people that are waiting to die and dying to get organ transplants, they are the major factor in getting donors matched with the people that need it to survive, y'all. And I met so many of these people, and it's just absolutely heartwarming, but breaking at the same time. But we support them. And as you know, I end every show with the Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. Be a hero. Go sign up. Takes like 2 minutes. You don't have to be from Louisiana to become an organ donor. You can be a lifer from Roanoke, Virginia. Go to lopa.org. Take 2 minutes, fill out the questionnaire thing, and become a hero, right? And the chances, y'all, that they're ever going to use your stuff are so slim. All the myths need to be dispelled. They don't keep people alive just to try to get their organs, and they don't do this with them and whatever. They don't take everybody's organs. It's a very, very select process, but it's one that saves lives, all right? Be a hero. Sign up to be an organ donor. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?